thousands of lives lost.
If it doesn't come from a doctor, it's not legit.
With lasting impacts.
You've OD'd on fentanyl 10 times.
At least 10 times, yeah.
Now, local leaders are taking on a deadly drug.
How many of you have heard of fentanyl?
Hitting the streets with vital resources.
Blankets, hoodies, food, Narcan.
Has it saved lives?
It has.
And cracking down on dealers.
Who sold the drugs? When did they sell the drugs?
The programs and people preventing poisonings.
If Jeffrey's life could save one, it's all worth it.
And saving lives.
We're making a significant impact in my mind, for sure.
We have to step up and do our part.
In a KCRA 3 Project Community Special, Breaking Free from Fentanyl.
After years of skyrocketing deaths and overdoses, the fentanyl epidemic is finally loosening its grip in our area, thanks in part to a group of community leaders dedicated to fighting the crisis. So take a look at these numbers from Sacramento County. These are the numbers of fentanyl-related deaths since 2019. In 2023, that hit an all-time high with 404 deaths. This year, though, less than 200. That's even more dramatic than the national drop. We've spent the last year speaking with volunteers, doctors, prosecutors, and families about how they're preventing overdoses and saving lives.
So this was, of course, the very first mommy-son moment, daddy-son moment. Jeffrey was always kind of a difficult child, always kind of had something in him that he was yearning for, I believe, at a young age.
From the moment she gave birth, Marlena Potter knew her son Jeffrey was different.
I feel like he was looking for that feeling of feeling okay.
Spending his life struggling to be comfortable in his own skin.
He was funny, he was extremely smart, played sports, but the first time that he tried Vicodin in high school, he said, "Mom," it was just like a, like he said, he described it as, it just felt like I could talk to people without being anxious. I could talk to girls, I could talk to teachers. He didn't want to use it, but it was to the point where you couldn't find other stuff.
But fentanyl found him.
He's gone to rehab, he's lived in sober living. We've done tough love, we've done love, neither work. He wanted sobriety.
His disease impacting not only Jeffrey, but everyone around him, including his father, Jeff.
Probably the biggest thing about him is his big heart. I'm not gonna be able to do it.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Guard my life, O God, from the works of the evil one. Please keep me safe and protected at all times. St. Francis of Assisi.
How many of you have heard of fentanyl?
St. Francis High School is focusing on keeping this deadly drug away from its students.
You can get a fentanyl pill, fake pill, on the street in Sacramento right now for 30 cents. So technically they just need to make a couple of bucks and they can stay high all day long.
Angela Webb is the founder and CEO of Arrive Alive California.
And the day after Christmas, Zach's dad found him with his hand on his computer, the game of Minecraft on, and him dead. And it came out to be that the dealer tracked him through Snapchat, got a hold of him, sold him what he thought was a Percocet, but it was a fentanyl-laced pill.
She travels the state educating teens about the opioid crisis.
Fentanyl is 50 times more powerful than heroin, 100 times more powerful than morphine, and it's very, very inexpensive to make.
I think it's very important for you and your families to understand there are two sides to this coin. You see, there are people who actually are looking for fentanyl. Those that have substance use disorders are looking to have fentanyl as their drug of choice.
Now we're going into the Heights, which is right here. You see this much happening and that it's out of control and nobody knows what to do. We have to step up and do our part.
Dr. Gina Warren is well known around Sacramento's Del Paso Heights.
All right, baby. Yeah, when we don't hear y'all, it makes us nervous. All right, baby.
She's the founder of the Neighborhood Wellness Foundation.
Blankets, hoodie, food, Narcan.
And a pharmacist.
Cool, thank you. You're welcome. Fentanyl is a painkiller. And so people are trying to numb their pain. And that pain is also very emotional. And so what we are able to do now is help with harm reduction.
She's in a unique position to help prevent deaths from fentanyl.
In Sac County, we are the #1 fentanyl-related deaths is in 95838.
Is fentanyl the biggest thing that you're seeing out in the streets?
Yeah, it is. People won't leave it alone. For some reason, they think it's the greatest thing in the world.
We provide not just food and clothing, but also the Narcan. And that's how we make the connection, is that you've got to connect with folks before you start asking them to stop doing drugs. Come here, baby. You got enough? Do you want to use this? Okay, you got it? Okay, okay.
What are people overdosing from right now in the streets?
Towards the fentanyl, so yeah, fentanyl and basically it.
What was your experience actually having to administer Narcan to someone?
You gotta basically get them to them right away and make sure to keep them awake and stuff so they don't pass out.
Are you glad that you have it for other people?
Yes, I am.
Has it saved lives?
It has. It definitely has.
How many that you know of?
At least half a dozen that I know of.
Friends of yours?
People I knew.
Reversing dozens of overdoses.
This is where most of the overdoses happen.
Numbers nearly added to a grim total.
All right, you guys take care. Yeah, we'll see you Thursday.
How do you feel when you're on fentanyl?
It feels good. If you're like at the right high, it's awesome. You know, it's like being on top of the world.
How does it feel when it's bad?
When it's bad, it's like just want to crawl on my skin, and you know, it's like hide.
Good afternoon, Charles.
Charles Hack
Morning.
Is a recovering addict.
And I got out of prison, you know, after doing 5 years, and I got out there. Just meth was just different. It wasn't the same, and it wasn't getting me high. I was homeless, and so they're all doing heroin and fentanyl, you know. And so I was like, "Hey, let me get a hit," you know. And that's how it started. It's like, let me get a hit of that.
All right, there you go, Charles.
Thank you. I came here and asked for methadone, you know, and they put me on a low dose at first.
Spending his entire adult life battling his demons. He's even been on the brink of death.
At least 10 times, you know, that I've OD'd on fentanyl.
You've OD'd on fentanyl 10 times?
At least 10 times, yeah.
After a stint in rehab, he ended up at CORE. It's a clinic offering medical treatment and counseling for opiate use disorders in Sacramento.
I feel like a broken record, but what's out there is fentanyl, and it's changed everything. It's changed the landscape of addiction.
Dr. Christine Bell is the medical director overseeing more than 800 patients, the majority of them addicted to fentanyl.
When I first started 14 years ago, it was heroin always. It was heroin and then pills and now fentanyl. So if somebody is thinking they're getting heroin, they're still getting fentanyl.
It's harder to treat than other opioid addictions and doesn't discriminate.
We see all types of people, teachers, professors, people who work for the state, people who work important jobs who unfortunately fell into the wrong situation and are now addicted to fentanyl.
Last year, President Biden met with Chinese leader Xi Jinping in the Bay Area for the first time since 2022, discussing China's role in manufacturing the fentanyl crisis.
China had a free pass. They could make whatever parts of fentanyl they wanted, and they would get like tax breaks and send it to Mexico, and then Mexico would send it to us.
China is the primary source of fentanyl and fentanyl-related substances in the world.
We find out, oh, they've made this chemical composition that is not allowed in our country, and they just tweak it a little bit more, and they make a better, stronger, dirtier version, that slips by.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good, you?
Good. How's adjusting to the work stuff?
It's going all right. It's going good.
Yeah?
I like it, you know.
What do they have you doing?
Picking trash on the side of the road, you know, so it's kind of cool.
Moving up. I love that for you.
$100 a day.
Dude, it's better than I do.
Charles admits fentanyl addiction, like the drug itself, can be unpredictable.
I don't know. I was excited about doing something different. Anything can happen. I could probably get high. When I walk out of this interview, you know what I mean? You never know. But right now, I'm in a good place. You know what I mean? I'm stable.
And I'm honestly like, I'm really happy for you.
When we come back, our story continues with how the California National Guard is stopping the flow of fentanyl across the southern border and how families of victims are raising awareness about the crisis, turning pain into purpose. Welcome back to our KCRA 3 Project Community Special, Breaking Free from Fentanyl. I spent a year talking to former addicts, family members, and prosecutors about how they're tackling the fentanyl crisis. And here in California, one of the biggest challenges is preventing the drug from crossing the southern border in the first place.
My next guest is from the Sacramento County District Attorney's Office. She is Deputy District Attorney Sonia Satchel, and she's going to tell you what their office is doing with the courtroom measures. Please give her a warm welcome.
I don't envy your generation. Unfortunately, you live now with this dangerous drug that does not allow for mistakes.
Sacramento County District Attorney Ten Ho going straight to the source, starting with prosecution.
What we do is on every single possession or sale of narcotics, we give that advisement. We tell defendants, hey, if you're selling drugs in the future and somebody dies from a fentanyl overdose, you can be charged with murder.
His fentanyl rapid response team making that easier by changing how they respond to overdose scenes.
So that we can start looking and collecting the evidence that we need right away so that we can prosecute people, so we can hold people accountable.
There's going to be an investigation done, similar to like a regular homicide case, where we were following really who sold the drugs, when did they sell the drugs, and did they sell it knowing that it contained fentanyl.
Sacramento PD making its first homicide arrest in a fentanyl overdose case thanks to its partnership with the county.
And we have 4 pending homicide cases as a result of these advisements.
Even with local enforcement, it's still a complex problem with no one solution.
We need to do whatever we can to make sure that those who are peddling and selling death essentially with fentanyl are held responsible.
The issue made more complicated by the southern border, the drug being smuggled from Mexico and straight into California.
We're making a significant impact in my mind, for sure.
Fentanyl seizures are up more than 1,000% in the state. The California National Guard making progress thanks to $15 million in state funding annually.
These are young soldiers and airmen that have been trained to really understand, characterize, and map out criminal networks within our society.
For students at St. Francis, this is a wake-up call.
My heart's passion is to get to these kids, serve our community, and save lives.
Please, go change the world.
That one pill can kill.
It is your decisions that shape your destiny. Go make good choices, and thank you for having us again.
He knew he wasn't going to get out alive. He knew that that drug called him. It's hard driving by and knowing your son, his body is here. It takes your breath away.
On June 17, 2023, 33-year-old Jeffrey Potter died of a fentanyl overdose.
He's free from the bondage of addiction. He's free from the stigma. He's free from the judgment. He's free from the battle.
Even though his soul is finally at peace, it's a bittersweet reminder he's never coming back.
It's just still surreal. It just still feels, I'm mad. I'm mad. And I'm mad at him sometimes, but then I try not to be mad at him because I know he was helpless. But I'm mad at the system, but I want him here. I want him here.
The vicious cycle of fentanyl, destroying lives and families in its path. But some loved ones, like Marlena, continue to fight.
It's a busy street, so I don't know how many people will actually pull over and stop.
These are faces. These are our loved ones.
This billboard, one of many across Northern California, putting names and faces to the fentanyl epidemic.
If Jeffrey's life could save one, it's all worth it.
They're using their pain for purpose.
Mine's Jeffrey, Forever 33 there, the yellow shirt.
Coming together to bring awareness.
It is now to the point, if we don't take it seriously, we've lost a whole generation.
How's your son doing?
You know, he's okay. He doesn't really like to talk about it.
Yeah.
Helping each other heal.
It's difficult for people to understand, but we understand each other, so it helps.
Sharing hope and finding serenity, one day at a time.
For me, it brings meaning.
For those lost and those worth fighting for.
It helps me stay close and connected to him, and that he's never going to be forgotten.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining us for a KCRA 3 special, Breaking Free from Fentanyl. Joining us today is Placer County District Attorney Morgan Geyer and Dr. Christine Bell from the Core Clinic you saw in our story. So I want to start with you. How has the prosecution of fentanyl-related cases changed?
It's changed in that before, cases like this were treated as overdose scenes. So law enforcement's role would really be sort of a standby as medical personnel treated the person that experienced these symptoms. Now they're being treated as crime scenes. Now there is a collection of evidence and the gathering of forensic evidence to try and support at least an investigation and if not a criminal case.
So, Dr. Bell, we've talked about how this has changed your treatment of your clients. How has it changed over the past few years and even more recently?
So we have, a few tools in our toolbox, some medications that we've been using for quite some time, and they worked great for the oxy, the pill mill epidemic. They worked great for the heroin epidemic, and then we had the fentanyl epidemic come along, and so it changed a lot about, we're trying to use the same tools the same way, and it wasn't working, so we had to rethink everything. We had to go back kind of from the beginning and learn to respond and not react and kind of go patient to patient and individualize our care better. We had to use different starting doses. We had to sometimes slow that way down, sometimes speed that way up. And so that was a really big, a huge learning curve that I think made us better as a clinic, but it was very difficult because our goal is to engage and retain patients so we can help them do better, get back to their lives, get back to their jobs, or get back to their families. And we can't do that if we kept losing them, and we were losing them a lot in the beginning because we weren't able to use our medications the same way.
So, DA Geyer, we know that your county is leading the way in prosecuting these cases. How is this an issue of focus for you, and why is it so important?
Our community, we were hit by the fentanyl epidemic, just like every community. We saw young people in particular dying senselessly and needlessly, and we knew we had to get active quickly. We began an aggressive outreach campaign. We partnered with our bereaved and grieving parents to spread the message of the dangers, and we increased our prosecution and enforcement efforts to hold those who sell this poison accountable.
What messages do you have for the community out there in terms of the dangers of fentanyl?
The danger, it's in everything. It's very easy to add to, anything that you're taking, that you're buying on the street. There's a pretty good chance that there's fentanyl in it. That's important to know. And I think that the patients who are seeking fentanyl are definitely more wise to, how much they can and cannot handle. But
having Narcan on. Everyone should have Narcan. Every single person should have Narcan in their car, on their person. We should, I mean, that's kind of, and if you are someone who's out buying medication, you should have a fentanyl test strip. People need to know how to use those.
In terms of the cases that you're seeing, do you think that dealers and people who are out there selling the drug are seeing that there are some very real consequences to this? And do you think that's making an impact on what's being sold on the street?
I most definitely think it's making an impact. We have anecdotally, we hear from dealers who have been caught who talk about the consequences that they might get in certain areas of the state, in certain counties. And I think as more and more counties become more aggressive, and I always say we're not going to arrest and prosecute our way out of it, but it is one critical component to tackling this crisis, along with our outreach, our education, our treatment. But I think that enforcement end is catching on. I think people are talking about it, and I think ultimately it will make a difference.
All right. Thank you both for joining us. And again, we want to thank you for joining us here for our KCRA 3 Project Community Special, Breaking Free from Fentanyl. We have more stories and resources posted on our website and our KCRA 3 app.